We're Angelo and Ilsa. After the government forced our theater in Western New York to close, and with no clear view of when we would be able to reopen, we moved our family into a 15-year-old shuttle bus and made it our tiny off-grid home on wheels. If you want to join us on our adventures, hop aboard by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss a thing. We have overheated twice in the last, 10 miles?
Yes.
And we're still climbing this huge hill out of Death Valley. Is the gauge going up?
Not yet. I'm watching it.
We just released some pressure from the radiator valve, or whatever it's called, radiator cap. And we're hoping that we can get out of Death Valley
Tonight.
without it being the death of the Inspire engine. Wish us luck.
I think it's starting to climb a little bit.
Oh god.
You don't look like a
Okay.
baby Benji.
Oh. Okay.
You can close it.
Okay.
We're overheated for the third time in about 10 miles.
We didn't quite overheat. We stopped right before we overheated this time.
No, it was overheating.
Okay.
It wasn't bursting fluid.
The engine didn't, the light didn't come on saying check gauges.
No, it pulled over. It careened into a pull-off, so we didn't have to stop in the middle of the road like last time.
They do put a lot of pull-offs here because they know people
Well, at the
overheat.
beginning of this mountain, it said, turn off AC to prevent overheating for the next 20 miles. It's a 20-mile steep incline. We're going 1,000 feet in elevation like every quarter mile or something. It's just going
Let's see, it's 20 miles and we're going like up to 5,000 feet
from sea level.
from sea level.
From below sea level. A little
Yeah.
bit.
So, what is that? It's every 5 miles? No.
Well, at least because we passed a sign that said 1,000 feet. And then very shortly after, 2,000 feet.
Yeah.
And then 3,000 feet. So we're already at 3,000 something feet.
Yeah. In 10 miles.
And the bus just isn't handling it well ever since we had that radiator change.
Yeah.
So we have a new radiator, but we were assuming like an air bubble or the reservoir is slightly overfilled. So this is going to be an issue until we get some help figuring that out. And this sucks because we can't even pass the time by cruising Facebook or the internet or anything. We're just stuck with each other talking.
Yeah. Which is the worst.
The worst.
No, at least we have
And
good
it's
company.
dark and the stars are really pretty.
Yeah, they are.
I just wish we were at a spot where we could camp for the night. There's not really an adequate camping spot. I mean, I suppose we could sleep right here if we really had to on the side of the road.
Yes, but my thought is it's better to finish this hill in the night
Yes.
when it's colder outside than trying to do it under the hot sun.
Yes. So, and I can't even let's look. The gauges, they won't even go down past middle. Like the engine temperature is like
Oh,
regular operating temp. The engine temperature will not go past the middle. So basically we're at like, I like when it overheats, getting it down to cold and then turning on and driving while it's cold. Not the best idea, but it gets us a little further. There's no Wi-Fi, honey. We are in Death Valley, the death of the internet. I found this book about Death Valley in that antique store in Bisbee.
yes.
And it says the 1938 WPA guide updated for today's traveler. And it talks about like the different, like the hotel at the ranch in Death Valley.
Mhm.
It said accommodations from $1.50 per night. Like it's really cool. You can see some of the old rates. And it's got an introduction about how the authors hated writing a tour guide book and how it was like beneath them. And I think the book is really cool. And it was re-released in 1993, the year before this became registered as a national park, which is, prestigious that it made it to the ranking of national park. So I'm having some fun reading this. I wish I'd read it before we came through, but it's got really cool ideas about different tours you can take in your car, like different places to tour, and I think it's all relatively still accurate. Like what I've read and what we've done still seems kind of cool. So I got this book for a couple bucks. This was a couple dollars at the antique place, and it's kind of neat.
In Bisbee.
Anyway, in Bisbee.
Wouldn't it be nice to be in Bisbee right now?
There was a big mountain in Bisbee. Imagine if we overheated on that hill.
Oh my gosh,
That was
really
before
scary.
the radiator broke, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, or it was probably already broken, but it didn't burst at that point. That would have been horrifying because we were on like a one-lane mountain highway. I'd prefer this to that for sure.
Yeah.
Like we're safe right now. We're okay. We're safe. We're just tired, and we should have been at the campsite in Alabama Hills by 7:30, and it is now 9:46. So what started out, we got going at 3, and it said it was a 3-hour and 20-minute drive.
I love how the girls are just laughing in the back.
They're just laughing.
To them, it's just whatever.
Well, that's good.
It's another day in the life for
They
them.
should feel safe and fine.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
we
I
don't-
like that.
We don't show too much stress, so I think they're okay with it. 2 miles later,
2 miles later.
here we are. You can tell by the size of our sucker that it hasn't been very long. I'm not even bothering to turn the engine off. It's almost back down to regular operating temp again. Luckily, we found another pull-off.
We pedal jumped. We like leapfrogged past one pull off.
Yeah.
So we can just keep doing that leapfrogging. Oh.
Wait, why are you up here?
Hey, who said you could unbuckle?
We're gonna pull out again soon to keep driving, huh? What? Okay. Use this.
She looks at the camera. She's embarrassed. Oh, it's cold. It's cold. What should they do?
Notification bell. Comment down below who you like in all our videos, and smash it all. Hulk smash, like you really want it.
Love those kids.
They're pretty happy-go-lucky, even though
You know, I never
crap
actually-
is happening all the time.
I never actually told them what they should say on the camera. The first time they were on camera, I said, what should the people at home do? And they knew exactly what to say. I think we made it about 4 miles the first time, then 2 miles, and then 2 more miles. So we've gone 6 miles up a 20-mile hill. Does that make
You're
sense?
okay. Privacy there.
6
Yeah.
miles up, 20-mile hill. So we still have 14 miles left to go. That can't be right.
That'll be 7 more 10-minute stops.
We just had dinner about 4 miles ago. We had mac and cheese. I made mac and cheese. And green beans and baked beans. And it was, out of all the gourmet things I make, it was the biggest hit.
You buckled? Get buckled. I want to drive now. You got to stop unbuckling because we stop. The car stops.
Okay, don't unbuckle
No.
again without permission.
They all get loose and run amok, and then it just like every stop is a huge production with food, and drinks, and bathroom. Like it's unnecessary. You can't do that every 2 miles on a 3,000-mile journey.
Are you kidding me? We just
We're
went
at
up.
the summit of this mountain.
I certainly hope so.
We just went up 3 more miles.
And another 1,000 feet.
Yes. My ears, I can't even hear. My ears are popped. Oh my gosh. Some people pulled over in front of us, and I think we're freaking them out because we pulled up behind them.
Yeah, they probably know.
What?
They probably know. We're just like them. Had to stop to cool down a little. But I think we made it.
This is the brake checkpoint. So that's another thing. Our brakes have been squeaking. So now we're going to go down the other side of this thing. Except I hope there's not another hill. That didn't feel like it was 20 miles. Might be
Well,
happening
we just
again
went up,
after
what
this.
was that? 8 miles?
Yeah.
Wait,
I hope that's it. Is this the end of it? I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here.
I think we just went up 8 miles, and the first, before we started counting, was at least 4 miles. So it's 8, 12 miles. But it could have been 6, 7 miles the first time. It might have even been more. So it could be it. This could be it.
Here we go. We're going down the hill now.
Yep.
We can turn off. Cheers.
A police officer just took mommy's license.
Okay. Where's she? Where's the cop? Okay. It's another officer sexy, this time in a Jeep. Ambrosia, have you done school yet?
Just having contingency plans, and pulling over and sleeping is probably the right thing to do, so I don't want to penalize you for that, especially when you got a car full of little ones. As far as if you need to do remote schooling, you can stay here. You're not being kicked out of this parking lot by any means. Yeah. I would just ask that you park over here in the bus and RV parking, so you're not taking up 4 car
Last
spots.
night I couldn't see. There was smoke covering my windshield because I didn't feel like it was safe to stop on the road because it was turning. It was unbelievable. I was so stressed out. So we pulled in, and like once I stopped, I'm like, I'm done. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
If it is possible to move over
absolutely.
here and
Yeah,
then you can do the remote schooling, that's totally fine. And you have cell phone service here then, I assume?
No, our Wi-Fi was picked up here.
Sweet.
We don't have phone service though. The phone didn't
okay.
go through yet.
Yeah.
We
if you
found
have
our
AT&T.
family probably all thinks we're dead because we didn't message anyone for like the last 36 hours. We didn't realize that Death Valley, once you come through, like you can't get out of the mountains until you're like in LA. We didn't know. We were trying to just go camp,
A lot of mountain
explore
ranges.
Death Valley, and then go to Alabama Hills for a night, and then come home. And I'm like, you guys wanted to see an officer?
So this is where we camped for the night, illegally. We got our first knock ever, camping right in this parking lot. But let me show you what we woke up to. I mean, besides waking up to a knock at the door, I can see why they don't want people parking here overnight, because they don't want you taking up spots for other people to come and check out this awesome view. Look, check this out.
Driving, you kids.
Buckle
I
up,
almost
everybody.
lost this down into the engine. It is only 68 degrees.
Oh, we're
The
pretty
Death
high up.
Valley.
Just waiting for Ginger to wake up.
Oh, I shouldn't cover up the heat gauge there. Where can I put
Come on.
this? It's too tall.
This is magnetic sticks right here.
My own fundraiser.
Okay, that's oh, just leave it on.
Okay,
Okay.
we got the first knock. We've got our first knock.
Yeah.
And it was a park ranger knocking violently on our door. I was sound asleep.
Violently.
Rap, 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 rap. And I'm like, oh crap, we're in trouble. We look out, there's a official with a badge. It was a park ranger in Death Valley, and I popped out, and I was all groggy and confused. I'm like, what? What do you want? She's like, you can't camp here. And I'm like, well, I didn't want to be. I had to. And I talked to her and told her we were overheating every couple miles up the hill, and we found this great pull-off. It's a beautiful overlook spot But we were parked rather haphazardly, and it was very clear we were sleeping in the bus. And I was like, listen, lady, we're exhausted. We were overheating. It was very dangerous. We pulled in here and had service finally, so we could, get online and look at maps and figure out what to do. And she finally let up when Katya and Logie popped outside. I think she thought they were cute. So she's like, oh, you got a bunch of kids in there. They're the best tool to bring with in a situation like that. But then she told me, she's like, well, now that you're awake, you're not camping anymore, so you're allowed to be here. So as long as you're not sleeping, you are allowed to be here.
I bet if we had camped here.
Yeah, and didn't put our shades in the window, they probably wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, just pull these closed.
Yeah. So we got our first illegal camping reprimand. I guess everyone has to get one of those eventually when you're van lifing. And she was very understanding, though. She said, I guess really that was your only option. Because I said, do you have any recommendations? We were trying to get 45 minutes down the road and literally could not. It was a safety issue. It was an emergency issue. It was dark. The roads were slanting and twisting and curving, and we didn't know what was up ahead. There's cliffs on either side of us. I'm sure she would have rather discovered us here illegally camping than at the bottom of one of those ravines dead. So I think we made the right choice, and she eventually agreed and said it was probably the better decision to stop. I'll just give you a warning and whatever. So that went okay. I was a little nervous. I'm nervous in California. I just feel like people are going to see the New York plates and be like, you're not supposed to be here. So as much as I want to see everything, I want to get out. I feel like I'm on a different planet, and I kind of just want to get out and get back to flat
like, I'm
lands.
gonna hide while I put on my deodorant.
So we're about to embark back on the mountain road. I can see it off in the distance. It looks relatively flat from here. Doesn't look like there's many places to pull off. It's a road that kind of wraps around the mountain over there. And we've got about an hour drive. We found a mechanic.
Hour and 20 minutes.
We've been on the phones for about an hour while we have service because we think we're going to lose service again. We've been on the phones calling everyone we can, and they're like, we don't work on 6.0 diesels. And
you know what, though? It's really cool
too.
is everyone kind of has a bit of a southern accent. I feel like we're back in Georgia.
Yeah.
And everyone says, I can't do that, but here's a number to try.
Yeah, they all refer us. Well, one guy didn't, and I just said, can you refer anybody? And he's like, go to the Ford dealership. And I'm like, not a good suggestion. Dealerships are never the way to go. You want to go to unless you have like a warranty or something, but support the mom and pop guys, the people that care, like literally care about families, and they're not so corporate. There's a time and place for that. This is not one of those times. So we need someone that can help us look at this radiator because my mom, some family members suggested that they think we blew a gasket, and I don't believe that to be true yet. If we continue wearing on the engine this way and overheating, we could blow a gasket. I don't think that's the case just yet. We don't have symptoms of that. I think there's like an air bubble in the coolant line, which we kind of anticipated because of the way our radiator was put in at a campsite in the dusty desert with no way to actually like bleed the system. So we really just need help. We can't do that ourselves. We need somebody who will just help us take care of this, or we're going to have a hell of a time getting home, having to stop every 4 miles. That's going to, we're going to be on the road for over a year if that's the case. Or maybe we just now live in California. I don't know.
I don't want that.
My mom suggested, she's like, well, you could just ship all your stuff home and take a plane or a train or whatever. And I'm like, that would be insane. It'd be cheaper to buy a whole new bus. The shipping rates across the country, it's like...
We wanted to ship a box of pillows home.
Like the kids play pillows and stuff. They're just too big in the bus. And so we stuffed a duffel bag full. It was about 25 pounds. And the best rate we could get to ship home a duffel bag of pillows, which we air vacuumed. Like we made them really small, stuffed them in this duffel bag. And the cheapest price we could get was like $90-something.
Yeah.
And we're like...
Well, and that was once we decided to keep the sleeping bags, and we brought it down to...
it was only like 15 pounds.
It was like, it was like 17 pounds, I think, and it was going to be $90-something.
Like, it's
if we wanted
to throw it all away and buy the stuff again, honestly.
If we wanted to ship home the 2 sleeping bags as well, that would have been $160-some.
Now, the sleeping bags are nice. Those were a little pricier.
Yeah, but
so
not for $160-some.
No.
We could have bought them for $40 to buy them again.
Yeah, well, $80 to get 2 of them. But anyway, So shipping this stuff home is not an option. If we could pawn this bus off on someone else, sell it, and buy a new one, I mean, we'd be stuck in the West for a few months building out a new bus, but that's not out of the question. It's just it sounds insane and like a lot of work. And we have an extra child with us whose mother really wants her to come home soon. So, you know, we're hoping this gentleman, this guy named Dale at Auto Cool, he said, get on over to me, I'll take a look at it.
And
So hopefully
Ridgecrest.
he can offer us some help. A lot of these places are closed on Saturdays. Of course, it's a Friday. That's always when we have problems, is on a Friday when it's really inconvenient. And we're in California. We're like heading towards the LA area, so I don't know how much this is going to cost. Like this is the wrong place to be doing this. But we're doing this, and hopefully it's our last mechanical problem for the trip. Hopefully. And I'd like to have the brakes looked at too, because our brakes were squeaking as we're going down a 9% grade. I was terrified, and I'm still terrified. I'm actually just wanting to sit here and live here in this parking lot forever. I get paralyzed by fear, and then my heart starts racing. And I haven't had to take any of my calm pills, my herbal calm pills, in a while, but I'm feeling like I need that now because I'm feeling very stressed, and I don't like when it's a safety issue. Like, this is dangerous. Driving in the mountains with this, it's dangerous. It's like scary, and all these people just do it like it's no big deal. I'm like, this is like Death Valley. The words death are all around us. There's Funeral Peak, a Dead Man's Pass, and I'm like, I don't want to be any of those things. I just want to go where it's flatlands. The desert is fine.
Let's go back to the plains.
Back to the safe plains. Like, I am so out of my element, fish out of water. And as much as I like it, I want to be somewhere where my tan doesn't wash off in the shower. I'm like scaly, and there's no shade anywhere. I'm thirsty constantly. We're so exposed. We're so like on a platter out here. Everyone can see us. There's no trees to hide behind. You're just kind of out there. And I want to go where it's familiar. This is fun to visit, but I need familiarity. I need back home type stuff.
The eastern states.
Yeah. We're Easterners, I think.
It's so funny
for sure.
because so many van lifers feel out of water east of the
When they're in
Mississippi.
the east. Yeah, all the people we meet that are from this area, we're like, come our way, we'll tell you where to camp. You can camp.
And they're like, oh, we're not going east.
Like, it's great. It's beautiful.
Too many people there.
There's not, though. Not really.
Not when you're boondocking out in the boonies like we
You
do.
can find seclusion. You just have to know where to find it. I mean, that's what's happened for us. We've had people tell us where to go. That's how we're finding all the cool things, because locals are telling us. Otherwise, if we're just looking at maps, we're going to find the tourist places where there's too many people. And actually, Death Valley did have kind of a lot of people at a few spots. It wasn't as secluded as I'd liked until we drove out 17 miles into the dirt road. Then there was
desert.
nothing.
Yeah.
Then there was nothing. You couldn't hear a darn thing when the wind stopped blowing. It was almost unsettling how silent it was.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're off to Ridgecrest, California, which doesn't sound like a place that I want to be right now.
On a Ridgecrest?
Ridgecrest?
No.
No. But we use topographic maps, and it looks pretty valley-ish.
Let's hope so. I'm hoping we can get further than 4 miles without overheating.
Yeah, me too.
I have an
Wish us
anxiety
luck.
about this.